Imagine a world where 8-year-olds were allowed to make decisions about everything. All the boys would be astronauts. All the girls would be female presidents of the United States. There would be ice cream dinner every day, and Christmas would happen every month. But this is obviously not an accurate reflection of the real world. 8-year-olds have little grasp of life's many complexities and the consequences of their many decisions. They have not yet accumulated enough life experiences to form an accurate assessment of the world and lack the decision-making skills afforded to well-read and well-traveled adults. Given these circumstances, we must raise an important question. Why are we allowing more and more children to make decisions that look like this?
What I've done is I've removed the breast. That is the entire breast removed. And as you can see, this double incision will become one incision. And then the nipple, which we've taken off the breast so we can show on Instagram. And here's a nipple. We're gonna put that at the correct location.
And I'm just going to remove this breast tissue to show you how it comes out. So this is the breast here. And as you can see, there's quite a lot of breast tissue here. So you could imagine that when this was in this fellow, it formed quite a nice little breast.
And we're just going to take that off really slow. And hopefully it's not sticking to any underarm hair, because that doesn't feel so good, as I'm sure I don't have to tell you now. And the graft itself is under this little piece of gel in it. So we're going to just pull this really slow, and you see the way it's sticking a little bit. I'm just going to go from the bottom and take it off really slow, and that is perfect.
Over the last decade, sexual orientation and gender identity has become a part of school curriculum in many English-speaking countries such as Canada, United States, Australia, New Zealand, and the United Kingdom. It is an initiative to bring more inclusivity to children's education, as well as an attempt to reduce discrimination against sexual orientation and gender identity. It encourages children to accept that there are a limitless number of genders that they can select at will, with new ones being discovered every day. The SOGI movement further seeks to normalize all sexual expression from an early age and overturn our traditional views of gender and sex.
Female or male, gay or straight, pink or blue. We were taught to see these as binary. Now we're realizing it's more like a kaleidoscope. Take sex. We used to think it was pretty straightforward. What makes someone male or female isn't so clear-cut. How about attraction? Some people argue the natural thing is to only be attracted to the opposite sex. But in practice, it ain't so simple, kids. Some people are gay, some are bi, some are asexual, and some will take whatever they can get. You know what I mean?
In addition to celebrity endorsements, SOGI education has gained significant traction among the medical community. More and more doctors are increasingly willing and openly offering various types of surgical and medical procedures to help children transition sexually. Over the last few years, chemical castration and hormone replacement drugs such as Lupron have been heavily prescribed to children in order to modify their body chemistry. In addition, gender change operations have skyrocketed in numbers, with double-digit percentage increases year on year. More recently, corporations and media have also accelerated this movement by bringing gender politics into everything they do. Disney, the bastion of children's entertainment, vows that 50% of characters in their projects would be LGBTQ or minorities moving forward. Its president, Carrie Burke, further said that her children were pansexual and transgender. So, how did SOGI come to permeate in global education systems, sculpting the minds of impressionable children? How has such a movement been allowed to spread in our society without scrutiny? In parents, we are seeing an increasing acceptance of emotion-based rather than fact-based approach to education. Unable to deal with their own incompetence and lack of accomplishments in life, many parents are increasingly suffering from Munchausen by proxy, the imposition of a medical syndrome on someone else so that they themselves can receive attention. In the medical profession, we are seeing doctors betray their Hippocratic oath to do no harm, instead opting to join the latest medical trends and seek profit from impressionable people. And finally, in a world that would otherwise be peaceful and uneventful, news media battling for ratings are continuously stoking social instability by amplifying messages from the minority in order to pit them against society's silent majority. They further use humiliation and name-calling to discourage opposition by labeling anyone who opposes the SOGI movement as bigots or sexists. All in all, sexual orientation and gender identity has turned into a massive industrial machine. It promises fame for parents, fortune for doctors, and fashion for companies. It has almost no concern for the well-being of the children who are being mutilated every day. Teaching sexual orientation and gender identity to children is a slippery slope. Children with little to no worldly experiences are force-fed information that they are ill-equipped to comprehend. The educators and parents who support such endeavors thrive on fulfilling their Munchausen by proxy.
To Kieran, who's transgender, it's not about racking up victories.
I don't want to win any trophies for it, though. I feel like that's the most unfair way to compete because it's not about winning. I feel like that's the most unfair way to compete because it's not about winning.
So many kids that don't even have the opportunity to express who they really are. We are acknowledging more people as who they are.
They, in their pursuit of 15 minutes of fame, are abetted by morally turpid medical professionals who eagerly perform mutilations for profit, and socially irresponsible media who happily thrive on provoking unrest for popularity. What is branded as sexual liberation for children is no more than the make-believe that children can master life choices that few adults are able to make. Children without sufficient worldly experiences are being milked by the SOGI profit machine for all they are worth. In recent years, an increasing number of people are beginning to regret their decisions to transition earlier in life. And for some, that regret would come too late. While we as a society can come to tolerate our differences, SOGI education is one which forces everyone to accept those differences. A study published in the National Library of Medicine notes that only 0.4% of the population is transgender. They are far from a societal norm that the media and the medical professionals would have you believe. But societies can change, often against people's will when peer pressure is applied and no one is there to resist. That is the abyss to which we are headed if we do not stop this indoctrination. As the war for the hearts and souls of our collective future rages on, parents must brave humiliation and name-calling if they do not wish their children to self-mutilate in the future. As we can no longer trust educators to be the guardians of our society's principles, parents must take a more active role in defending our society. Normalizing sexual exposure and gender education to our children will only serve as a gateway to more heinous crimes against them in the future. We are at a crossroads in history. Allow sexual orientation and gender identity to spread and face the inevitable downfall of our civilizations. Or stop it in its tracks before this insane left-wing ideology destroys our society. It's time to take a stand.